Hello and welcome to the first of a new series of videos which I like to call The Beauty of a Moment. In this series I'll be picking out some of my favourite scenes or moments from the My Hero Academia anime, and I'll be breaking down why exactly I think they are, well, beautiful, whether that's in terms of narrative or through the emotions and details the scene conveys. It can be a big, glorious, iconic sequence, or it can be a simple interaction between two characters. It doesn't matter if it's big or small, what matters is the meaning behind it. But to start this series, I thought I would begin with arguably one of the biggest and most emotional sequences in the entirety of My Hero. And that moment is My Hero Academia Hero Rising's Double Detroit Smash. So if you happen to watch the My Hero Academia Hero Risings movie, you already know the sequence I'm talking about. From its gorgeous animation to the absolutely stunning melody of the orchestral rendition of the iconic You Say Run, Might Plus You, this scene undoubtedly leaves a massive impression on anyone who views it. It's definitely the most iconic and memorable moment in the entire movie, and it's pretty easy to see why. After every member of Class 1A has reached their absolute limit and pushed even further beyond, truly becoming the embodiment of the words plus ultra, we are left with our protagonist Deku and his childhood bully turned ally Bakugo on the precipice of failure. They both have gone far beyond their limits, but even when putting their petty differences aside and finally working together to become the ultimate heroes, they are still no match for the ungodly power of the combined quirks of the villain 9. So in one last desperate act to fulfill their duties as heroes, Deku decides to pass on his ultimate and only power one for all to Bakugo, so they can harness the power together and finally defeat the villain. It's a truly beautiful yet heart-wrenching moment that even the most casual viewer can understand. Deku is choosing to give up his dream of becoming a hero in order to save the lives of those around him, and Bakugo is finally accepting the fact that he can't fight alone, and he takes the hand of the very person he shunned for offering him help all those years ago. It's the perfect moment where both Midoriya and Bakugo's character arcs come full circle. Midoriya sacrifices his quirk to achieve his dream to become the world's greatest hero, and Bakugo comes to understand the strength a person can achieve through the acceptance of help. And together, the two young heroes join forces for what is believed to be the last time to defeat the villain 9, using the very power that once belonged to their beloved idol. Now this alone makes this scene so powerful in its narrative that it's not only a very fitting end for the Heroes Rising movie, but it would also be the perfect ending for the series as a whole. And I mean, this makes sense as this scene was based off Horikoshi's original concept for how he wanted My Hero to end. Just replace the multiple quirk wielder 9 with All for One, and boom, it's the perfect finale. But you see, while this is all well and good, what makes this moment truly beautiful in my eyes is the fact that this scene isn't entirely original. Now what I mean by this is that it's actually a parallel to one of the first and most important scenes in the entire series. More specifically, the very first time Midoriya and Bakugo met All Might. Now Midoriya did meet All Might by himself in the first episode, but this wasn't actually All Might. I don't mean in terms of the actual person, because yes, this is in fact All Might. I mean in terms of character. The person who Midoriya talked to on the building rooftop wasn't the unwavering symbol of peace that we have all come to know and love throughout the series. He's a decrepit, battered, broken down and worn out man who is just tired. After countless years of All Might being the hero, all of the stress that comes with his status finally catches up to him. And what we are left with is not a hero nor a symbol, but a human who finally begins to crack under the pressure of carrying the weight of the world. This is why he uncharacteristically tells Midoriya that he can't become a hero, because All Might's too tired to keep up the charade of the eternal flame of hope. I mean, compare this All Might here to him in any other part of the series. It's a completely different person. So, while this is Midoriya's first time meeting All Might the man, it isn't the first time Midoriya meets All Might the symbol. This fated interaction occurs when Midoriya tries to save Bakugo from the sludge villain. For many fans of the series, this is the scene that sold them on the show, and I can proudly say I am one of those people. Not only was it awe-inspiring and emotional seeing the quirkless Deku run past the idle so-called heroes and symbol of peace in a truly heroic attempt to save his childhood bully, but it was also the first time many of us heard the now infamous "You Say Run." It's an iconic scene true and true, but not only did this scene introduce us to the message of the show that you don't need power to be a true hero, it was also ours, Midoriya and Bakugo's first ever encounter with the symbol of peace. This is the first time we get to see the real All Might, not the tired notebook signing beaten down man we were initially introduced to, but the hope of the people. A hero risking his own life and pushing himself beyond what he even thought was possible, all to save two measly young kids. And in this very moment, All Might embodies both Midoriya's and Bakugo's ideologies of what it means to be a hero. He saves the kids and he defeats the villain. He's the savior Midoriya worshipped and the warrior Bakugo wished to be. While we as an audience get to witness this unbelievable and beautiful introduction to the #1 hero, Bakugo and Midoriya get to witness their idol, their childhood hero, and the person who inspired them to be more firsthand. And in the darkened, hopeless street, surrounded by burning debris with a seemingly unstoppable villain on the cusp of victory about to bring chaos and terror to the world, All Might steps forward. And with a single move, he not only changes the destiny of the two innocent kids desperately grasping onto the hope of a miracle, but he changes the destiny of the world, as the once darkened and burning street illuminates with light from above, with the shifting of clouds, the changing of the weather, the defeat of a villain, and the echoing of the words, "Detroit Smash." Cut to Midoriya and Bakugo versus 9. Suddenly, the two kids who were once saved by the symbol of peace now find themselves in a familiar situation. A darkened area, surrounded by burning debris with a seemingly unstoppable villain on the cusp of victory about to bring chaos and terror to the world. Except, this time, they aren't the helpless kids in danger. They are All Might. As Midoriya and Bakugo lie broken and beaten in the jaws of Nine's Hydras, they find themselves in the very same position All Might found himself in way back when. Broken, tired, and having seemingly given everything. The two young boys lie crushed and defeated as they are forced to accept their fate, looking on at the helpless kids they just weren't strong enough to save. But just like their idol, inspiration appears in the most unlikely of places, as Katsuma and Mahiro, the two kids whose lives are in danger, cry out to Bakugo and Midoriya, begging them to continue their fight and not to give up. Hearing these words, the very same words Bakugo and Midoriya themselves once cried out to their hero in a hopeless situation, makes our two heroes realize the exact same thing All Might did when he saw the quirkless Midoriya hopelessly running out to save his friend. They haven't given everything. Not yet. Midoriya reaches out his hand to Bakugo, and Bakugo does the same to Midoriya, as All Might's words, their hero's words, echo through their minds. A hero has so much to protect in this world, and a real hero will always find a way for justice to be served. Bakugo and Midoriya reach out to one another, finally willing to live up to theirs and their hero's ideals, as, upon grasping hands and transferring the power one for all, the childhood friends both sacrifice the one thing they cherished most in this world. The one thing that motivated them and kept them going through all of the pain, hardship, and loss. Midoriya's dreams and Bakugo's pride. By making this ultimate self-sacrifice, Midoriya and Bakugo gain the power to break out of their bind, and they stand together, not as the kids who idolized the symbol, not as the rivals who challenged each other's resolve, not even as friends who were brought together by hopes and dreams, but they stand together as true heroes, as the embodiment of All Might's will, as the symbol of peace. Bakugo, the warrior who never falters, and Midoriya, the savior who never stops. And together, as the two heroes stand faced against a seemingly unstoppable opposition who turned the literal world against them, they do the very thing All Might did the first time they met him. With one single move, they change destiny. Midoriya and Bakugo pull back, raise their fists to the sky, and from the deepest depths of their heart, accompanied with the climax of Might plus Yusei Run's ultimate successor, they let out a mighty roar. And just like the very first time Midoriya and Bakugo heard that heroic battle cry, the once darkened and burning area illuminates with light from above, with the shifting of clouds, the changing of the weather, and the echoing of the words. As the scene fades back in, we see standing, as the literal beacon of light and hope, with their hands raised triumphantly in the air, Midoriya and Bakugo, the wielder of a dying flame and the wielder of a power that's not his own. Together, the two starry-eyed, hopeful young kids had achieved their dream. They had become their hero. And so, all that was left was for them to go beyond, to go plus ultra. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the beauty of a moment.